the future of air warfare. Obviously, you will have to introduce this topic a bit. We will have to first talk about introduction into the future of air warfare by talking about the evolution of air warfare, a historical context, for example, a brief touch on the progression from traditional dogfights to modern aerial strategies, or the modern paradigms of discussing a shift towards unmanned system, AI integration, and electronic warfare. This is all me saying this, okay? But I think that will go too far. We will go way too deep with that, which is why we're gonna focus on the future and not on the past, not about World War II and how it all evolved from there. That could be a different topic. And what is shaping air combat? What emerging technologies do we see lately? And what do we see also really used in, for example, Pakistan, India, Israel, or Ukraine, Russia? That is something we shall talk about. Let's start with a little introduction video. We're starting with this one. I have not pre-watched any of this. Let's see where this goes.
Lockheed Martin is transforming the future of air combat by pushing the boundaries of how
Looks like a lot of AI content today.
fighter jets and autonomous systems work together in contested environments. On January 22, 2025, the company released major updates showcasing innovations throughout 2024.
One little side question. I used to be invested. Lockheed Martin stock. I think they're doing insanely well. I used to buy them at 200. Yeah, I had them at 200. Ay. Investing in war, good thing, man. Stop. This is for 12-year-olds. Stop talking shit. Watch or don't. I don't want to listen to all your bullshit.
4, with a particular focus on enabling US-made fighter jets like the F-35 to control drones. This initiative is a key part of the U.S. Air Force's ambitious collaborative combat aircraft program, a critical element in their strategy to dominate the skies in the coming decades. The Collaborative Combat Aircraft, or CCA,
it's like you have a jet and it has like a drone swarm around it? It's kind of insane.
Breaking project designed to integrate semi-autonomous drones with crewed fighter jets. These drones, dubbed loyal wingmen, are built to enhance the capabilities of fighter jets, providing flexibility in complex combat scenarios. Whether operating
That's you're like attacking a jet and he has just AI drones around him. That is some future
or as part
shit,
of a coordinated group,
right there.
These drones can perform a variety of missions, from air-to-air combat
PowerPoint
to
video. Guys, I will literally start betting people. Jesus Christ, I have literally 10 videos on my left screen. Just fucking brief, calm down.
Electronic warfare and intelligence
Jesus
gathering.
Christ.
Lockheed Martin's tests throughout 2024 have proven the ability of the F-35 to control these drones in real time.
They already tested this.
The F-35, one of the world's most advanced stealth fighters, now serves as a central hub, managing the operations of these autonomous drones. By directing drones to perform surveillance, suppress threats, and carry out electronic warfare, the F-35 allows human pilots to focus on higher-level strategic decisions. The key to this groundbreaking capability lies in the integration of artificial intelligence. Lockheed Martin's tests have demonstrated that the F-35 and drones can communicate seamlessly, with AI-powered systems enabling real-time decision-making and coordination. This allows pilots to focus on broader combat objectives while the drones handle specific tasks in flight. This technological leap is central to the U.S. Air Force's vision of a connected, multi-domain network. In the future, manned and unmanned platforms will work together to maximize mission success. As technology evolves, the F-35 will serve as a critical command and control platform for a growing fleet of autonomous drones. These systems will become increasingly autonomous, reducing the need for human intervention and enhancing mission success rates. Lockheed Martin's innovations are ensuring that the U.S. Air Force maintains a technological edge in future combat scenarios. The F-35 will continue to be a powerful fighter aircraft while also evolving into a central hub for controlling autonomous drones. This shift to integrated operations will provide the U.S. with increased flexibility and survivability against emerging threats. With advancements in AI and drone integration, Lockheed Martin is leading the way toward a new era of air combat. The combination of the F-35's stealth, agility, and firepower with the drone's endurance, adaptability, and cost-effectiveness will redefine air superiority. This game-changing technology ensures that the U.S. will remain at the forefront of aerial warfare, ready for the most complex and high-stakes combat scenarios in the future.
And that was a great warm-up here into our topic today. We're just gonna put the bar low so you guys can get all the complaints out, you fucking bitches. And it's gonna get better. And I have found a first article. Now it's getting a bit deeper, showing that these TommyKay deep dives are indeed very informative and deeply researched. And we have an article here that we're gonna read today. You guys want AI videos? Well, then welcome to school. Okay, where we are looking at an article from skycombatace.com, whatever the hell that is. Probably, I don't know. But we have a beautiful article here that we're going to look into for a second here. The future of aerial combat, written by the one and only, well, Sky Combat Ace himself. Let's take a look as we go on. Let me just check everything. And let's take a little look here, man. Step into the exhilarating world of aerial combat. Yeah, it's a great world where the sky is the ultimate battleground and technology is constantly pushing the envelope. The future of aerial combat is an adrenaline-fueled fusion of cutting-edge innovations, strategic prowess, and skillful aerial combat maneuvers. Okay, this is very well written. I like it. It's like Tom Cruise wrote this. Thank you, Smurf Berserker. Aerial warfare promises a thrilling mix of advanced... Is this a video game? Is this guy, like, celebrating air warfare? Like, people are dying in war? Aerial warfare promises a thrilling mix of advanced technology, evolving tactics, and daring feats of human ingenuity. From the earliest dogfights in rickety pipelines to the high-stakes battles waged by stealth fifth-generation fighters, the future of air warfare is constantly being redefined by the relentless march of progress. One sec. I have the wrong music here. I got the wrong music. One sec. Okay, there we go. Strap in and prepare for a breathtaking journey as we dive headfirst into the astonishing possibilities that lie ahead in the future of aerial combat. Yeah! Woo! Step into the exhilarating world. Again, I'm stepping in? What the fuck, this kind of shit is TommyKay reading? Of aerial combat where the sky is the ultimate battleground. Did we just read that? Wait, it's the same text again. Oh, what is TommyKay doing, eh? Great deep dive, bro. Great sources here. Oh, God. ChatGPT.com. Different generations of fighter planes. Jet fighters have come a long way. Calm down. Let's calm down. This is very serious content, okay? Calm the fuck down. Very serious content. Jet fighters, my dear friends, have come a long way since their inception, evolving through 5 generations. Apparently, it was 5 generations. Interesting. With each bringing significant improvements in designs, avionics, and weapon systems. Let's take a look at every single generation for a second. We're starting with the mid-1940s to 1950s with early fighter jets like the F-86 and the MiG-15. This has to be after World War II, I guess. So this is 5 generations of jet engines. This is not involving the propeller engines. They had basic avionics, no radars, and were armed with machine guns and cannons. They operated at subsonic speed due to the lack of afterburners. I think you can actually get these in Hearts of Iron 4, I think. They were in the Korea War. Can I see some footage of a MiG-15? MiG-15 footage. So this would be the first jet engine. Oh, shit. Oh. Oh, shit, man. Damn. There was also the F-86. That was the first American jet engine, which you think you can get in Hoi 4.
Let me explain. During the early hours of
like all the content is just AI.
September 21st, 1953, no Kumsak got inside his
no. Son, are you jerking off again? What are you jerking off in? I hope you're not jerking off the dog. No Kumsak. What the fuck is
15
this content?
at Sunan International
There's no way this is real.
His goal was to fly to Kimpo Air Base in South Korea, which was the U.S. Air Force's base in the war. He took off from the airport and quickly hit a speed of 600 miles per hour. So this is the
F-86.
But there was a problem.
Okay.
Crossing the border was dangerous.
No Kumsak.
Americans
You
had
gotta be kidding
radars
me.
that would detect the fighter jet and take it down. However, no one fired at him as he crossed.
Okay, that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. Jesus. Second generation, from the mid-1950s to the early 1960s, this generation introduced air-to-air radar, infrared, and semi-active guided missiles, and radar warning receivers into aircraft such as the F-104 or MiG-21. F-104. Footage. This is the second generation. That looks already a very Cold War, right? That already looks very, very Cold War. Makes you wonder how this guy will fare against the first generation. Shit. he taking off or what? Oh shit, he is. Is he gonna take off or what? You gotta pull, man! Okay, there you go. One time when I was younger, a fighter jet flew over me. And that was so crazy. Everybody was scared and going on the ground because it was such noise pressure. It was unbelievable. Thank you, Volbrecker. The third generation of the early 1960s, 1970s with improved maneuverability and enhancements to avionics and weapon systems. This generation introduced multi-role fighters like the F4 and Mirage 3. These aircraft allowed for beyond visual range engagements. F4. F4 footage. Vietnam. 1988. RAF4 Phantom. The Phantom. This guy was in... Oh, that looks already very modern. Okay, that looks very modern. There's 2 more generations after this. This crane... This guy crashed a lot. Oh, shit. Look at this fucking guy. What is he doing? Jesus. Alter. In real life, that's so loud in your ear. Okay, interesting. And then the 4th generation until the late 80s, advancements continued with the development of fly-by-wire fighters like the FA-18 and the F-16. The F-16, I thought that's the newest one. These aircraft could switch between air-to-air and air-to-ground roles, blurring the distinction between mission types. And then until the 90s, due to budget constraints, some existing fighters were upgraded with stealth technology, radar-absorbent materials, oh man, and advanced radar system. But we can't even build good roads, but we have this shit. New platforms like the Eurofighter Typhoon and the Dassault Rafale also emerged with these advanced characteristics. And finally, the 5th current generation of the F-22 Raptor marked the beginning of this new generation, followed by the designs like the F-35 Joint Strike Fighter. These aircraft feature stealth technologies, improved situational awareness, and advanced software enabling them to maintain decision superiority over adversaries and ensure battle plan dominance. That looks very modern, yeah. American culture, man. What are you doing today? We're going to the F-22 show. It's kind of sick, dude. How many does the USA have of these? How fast is he taking off? Like instantly. That's a very fast takeoff, isn't it? Oh, that's fast, yeah. Damn, that looks like a transformer. Yeah, they're so big, man. Look how small the human is. Damn, that's futuristic as fuck, dude. What the fucking music. Woo! America! Okay, that looks creepy, man. Holy shit. Yeah, that guy was actually in Transformers, right? Damn, he's getting altitude very fast, huh? That Starscream? Oh my god, this guy. Every time I see war technology, it's like so advanced. But yet my phone needs a new charger every 3 years, bro. There you go, look at that shit. That looks creepy, man. Nice camera work, actually. Jesus. I'd love to see them in actual battle, how they perform and stuff. Super interesting. Super interesting. Okay. How fighter planes are developing and evolving. The constant push of progress in fighter innovation drives the pursuit of enhanced speed, performance, survivability, and pilot command. Numerous countries are investing in the development of this. For example, the United States with the Next Generation Air Dominance NGAD program. Germany with the FCAS program. The United Kingdom with Future Combat Air, and various projects from China, Taiwan, Italy, Spain, Sweden, etc. Innovations that may be incorporated from these cutting-edge fighters yet include the integration of unmanned technologies. So a big point if we talk about the topic of the future of air warfare seems to be unmanned applications and obviously AI, right? One thing is certain, the world's most formidable and swiftest yet has to make its debut. What is modern air combat like? Modern aerial combat is quite different from what it used to be. These days it's all about high-tech gadget, advanced avionics, and precision-guided ammunition. When combined with skillful aerial combat maneuvers, the modern jet fighter provides its pilot with an arsenal of capabilities. Here are some of the main technology advantages nowadays. Sophisticated Sophistication of defeat radar. Advanced stealth technology and electronic countermeasures. Let me put the music down a little bit. Are employed to evade or confuse enemy radar systems, making it difficult for adversaries to detect and target aircraft in aerial combat. I wonder what that feels like. Like a video? I need videos because I'm autistic. The speed and maneuverability is higher. High speed and agile aircraft can outmaneuver opponents and evade threats, giving pilots the edge in dogfights and allowing them to quickly engage or disengage from combat situations. Was there any fighter jet fights in Ukraine? I don't know anything about that. Unmanned aerial vehicles and drones, UAVs or drones can perform reconnaissance, surveillance, and strike missions without putting human pilots at risk. And I think they're much cheaper, yeah. There was dogfights. Is there footage of that? Or like, or knowledge? Did we learn something from Ukraine-Russian dogfights? AI-powered decision-making and autonomous system and situation awareness, improving target accuracy, etc. AI is really the future, man. The future of aerial combat aircraft is still up for debate, but both manned and unmanned options have their advantages. While unmanned systems like drones offer reduced risk to pilots and increased precision in dangerous missions, manned aircraft provide human intuition and decision-making. But at some point you will think AI beats that. As technology continues to progress, we should see a mix of both. Okie dokie. Okie dokie. Another thing I found is this. What did I find here? What is this article?
Look up a picture of America's 6th-gen fighter, the F-47. Apparently, it has been flying since 2019, but was revelated this year.
The Exorcist? What the fuck? Makes you wonder what America is hiding, right? What they're not showing. I'm just going through everything I have here. What do we have here? Fate of the Navy's FA-XX future fighter is in limbo. A futuristic fighter of the Navy. Look at this fucker, man. What the hell? This is some future shit. Thank you, Damien. The future of the US Navy's FA-XX 6th generation stealth fighter program is still being reviewed by the Pentagon, White House, and Congress. A US official told TVZ on Wednesday. This is what date? I don't see a date, unfortunately. Oh, this is brand new. This is from yesterday. Wow, this is from yesterday. Damn, TommyKay News, bro. Nothing's being delayed, the official is saying. A decision hasn't been made yet. That decision is still being determined by the Pentagon and service leaders with conversations among Congress as well. It's a big program. Obviously, these things don't get settled just by one individual. A rendering of a notional 6th generation cruise stealth combat fighter. So this is the next generation. Look at that. Jesus, man. Source ChatGPT. It always adds itself at the end, you fucking retards. The Navy has previously set its goal for the first FA-XX aircraft, intended to replace the FA-18 Super Hornet and the EA-18G Growler electronics attack jet to enter service in 2030. The FA-XX is expected to feature superior range, speed, and sensor capabilities, with an emphasis on integrating manned and unmanned systems. A 2025 Naval Aviation Playbook put out by the Office of the Commander of the Naval Air Force is currently Vice Admiral Daniel Cheever in March. This includes collaboration with autonomous drones serving as force multipliers and electric warfare assets. Jesus, man. Imagine you give 5 of these to Ukraine. The Navy remains committed to the FA-XX program, recognizing its importance in future force structure and design. Think how much money is put in shit like this. Jesus. However, a funding dispute pitting the Sea Service and submersible Congress against the White House has threatened to derail that timeline and cancel the program. Oh. While the Navy wants to move forward with awarding a contract, some Pentagon officials are against it. Interesting. Is there a video about this? The FA-XX. I wouldn't think there's... I mean, doesn't even exist yet. FA-XX. Oh, shit. There's a little... Ooh. Well, we're talking about the future of air warfare. Let's take a look at that shit.
Is the FA-XX, the new fighter jet that looks to replace the F-22 Raptor and the F-35 Lightning II as the king of the skies.
An actual real video.
With military branches the world over looking to be the first to make a true 6th-gen stealth fighter. Surprisingly, it's the Navy, not the Air Force.
So the world is kind of waiting for the 6th gen in a way. We can talk. We kind of said that.
But with what exactly? Well, we do actually have a rough image that has been released to the public of the FA-XX's intended appearance.
You probably want to really be careful with stuff like that and not give it to your enemies, huh?
Will have a tailless blended wing body, or BWB design, where the wings blend into the fuselage without any vertical facing extremities. The engine inlets, meanwhile, appear to be fully recessed, and will likely be designed to remove any issue.
There's actually footage of a dogfight in Ukraine. It's safe to watch. Is it safe to watch? I trust you. Oh, I need a Reddit account. I need a Reddit account. I need a Reddit account. Cringe, Alter. Let me try to log in. Bitch ass Reddit my ass. I think I'm in. Yeah. Oh, I'm in. Okay, we're watching that in a sec. That's safe to watch. I trust you, John. Yeah.
Of a detectable resonance.
War Thunder already has the
we
schematics.
Can assume then, with the prioritization on stealth, that the FAXX
War
will
Thunder
be
has this
designed with
plane.
the most advanced radar-absorbent composite materials available as well. But stealth isn't the only thing this new aircraft needs if it wants to be the new top dog in avionics. Before it can get that far, the FAXX will need to correct more than a few issues that the current generation of stealth fighters are facing. In most jets, vertical tail surfaces assist with yaw control and increasing the maneuverability of the aircraft. Fifth-generation fighter jets often feature these, only with twin-canted tails in a V-shape. This helps reduce the fighter's radar cross-section, or RCS, basically how visible the aircraft is to radar. However, they still stand out as big visual cues to onlookers of a fighter jet's presence. And though the gaping engine inlets that these fighters also feature are necessary in creating thrust, they can also produce a resonance that's detectable to low-frequency arrays,
How much money is one of
making
these?
them detectable. On top of this, each F-35C costs the Navy around $117.
Oh, there you go. Alter, 170 million for one. Alter Schwede, ey.
$1.3 million
Holy shit.
apiece. And that's not even taking into account the $1.3 trillion in life cycle costs that the F-35 program accumulates over the aircraft's 66-year life.
In the 66th year of the lifespan of the whole program, 1.3 trillion. Alter. Isn't that just insanity? I mean, you need this stuff for deterrence, right? But imagine what you could do with that money, bro. Holy shit.
Lifespan. Not exactly
That is so
worth
mental.
it for outdated tech. With the FAXX new design, it seems
This is why aliens are not talking to us, because we will destroy them in a
that
second.
the Navy will fix all these issues at a cheaper cost, all while being able to go faster and further than ever before. While radar tech has certainly improved since the emergence of fifth-generation fighters, so has air denial, missiles, and other technologies that make it difficult for aircraft to even come close to enemy targets. The Chinese DF-21D was terrifying enough, as it was dubbed the world's first carrier killer and could launch a 600-kilogram payload up to 2,150 kilometers. But then came the DF-26B, which allegedly doubled everything at minimum, with a max payload of 1,800 kilograms at a reported range of up to 4,000 kilometers. And that's in addition to the DF-ZF, a hypersonic glide vehicle launched from the DF-17 that can travel at speeds ranging
This
from
all makes me
Mach
kinda
5
scared,
to
man.
Mach
Why
10,
does shit like this
as
exist?
far as
Jesus Christ.
1,930
That's so creepy.
kilometers. Not only does China have this weaponry, but they also have them placed right at the heart of their A2AD, or anti-access area denial zones, in the South China Sea, East China Sea, and the Strait of Taiwan. All are key strategic points to accessing the Chinese mainland and can pose a threat to anything within range. The F-35C has a flight range of around 1,200 nautical miles, meaning its combat range is only half that at 600 nautical miles. So, if any of these aircraft intended to engage in missions in Chinese territory, the launch point they would need
I like how all this tactical, fictional thinking revolves around fighting China.
have from the carrier
But
would already be
it's the
within
scenario
range
you
of
should
a
probably
number
think
of
about when you
Chinese
design this stuff.
countermeasures. So, not only will the FAXX need to have better stealth capabilities than anything currently to penetrate deeper into foreign territory, but it will have to have a long enough combat range to be launched from a safe enough distance without exposing the aircraft carriers to hypersonic missiles and other threats, which, at this point, may have to be even further than previously thought. While 1,000 miles combat range may seem sufficient, as mentioned earlier, the DF-26B can allegedly reach an even further distance than the DF-21D.
Something I don't understand too much is why do we care about the range of carriers? Can't the USA just go to airfields in Taiwan and Southwest Japan, Okinawa and shit like this?
Endangering everything within 20.
Well, then these airports get nuked, right?
500 miles, if sources can be believed. By the time the new FA-XX is developed, it will need to be able to combat these countermeasures as well as any future technologies that may be currently in development. Of course, it will also need to surpass the speeds of the F-35 and other 5th-gen jets if it has any hope of executing these missions.
Look at that thing,
Most
man.
5th-generation fighters use turbofan engines, like the Pratt & Whitney F-135, in which
I'm always so impressed when we watch war videos about war technology, about that engineering.
the fans generate
Again, your phone breaks after 3 years. But we have this shit out, man?
most of the thrust. This has allowed the F-35 to achieve operational speeds of Mach 1.6 or around 1,200 miles per hour, even when bearing a full weapons load. Though original statements by the Air Force had us thinking that these engines would be the basis for the 6th-gen fighter power too, it has since revealed that the new engines will most likely be adaptive cycle engines, or ACE engines. In an ACE system, the engine has the ability to act like both a turbofan and a turbojet engine and will adapt its airflow in order to compensate for varying conditions.
Okay, this is too high IQ for me, man.
This, in theory, allows the system to optimize fuel efficiency while still maintaining speeds above Mach 2 and altitudes likely around 65,000 feet. But since the XA-100 is still in development, we will have to wait and see exactly
and apparently
how far
don't even know if the program is going to get funded, as we know now from TommyKay News.
There are other revolutionary features of the FA-XX that will continue the future of warfare. While radars have proven useful over the years,
These
they
engines
also
are
have
on.
their issues. With advancing tech, radars themselves have become detectable while actively scanning. Meanwhile, advanced radars that operate at very high frequencies, or VHF, have become adept at spotting stealth fighters like the F-22 Raptor and the F-35. Simply put, modern integrated air defense systems, or IADS, have made it increasingly difficult for stealth fighters to do anything of value
Imagine
in
you sit in that plane and the rocket is coming your way.
putting
Fuck,
themselves
dude.
at risk too. To combat all of these struggles, the FA-XX will have to evolve the already extensive suites of electronic and sensor technology present in the current generation of stealth fighters. An array of infrared search and track, or IRST systems, should seamlessly and passively search for heat signatures while not putting out a frequency of its own.
Dude, heat signatures are probably going to be such a big thing in World War III.
To execute a number of electronic attacks.
Hey, I just looked at heat signatures and goes...
Like radar jamming, to prevent any advanced countermeasures from even detecting the FA-XX as it approaches its targets. With all of this being backed by a sensor fusion system that instantly transmits and shares data into a single pilot interface, the fighter will also be able to make faster and more evasive decisions. But the real kicker will be the way the aircraft is able to simultaneously share this data and coordinate with its small fleet of drones that will accompany it. Throughout the chase for 6th-generation stealth fighters, one thing that keeps being brought up
It's like you're a necromancer in Skyrim. You have these undead minions around you.
is the integration
you just have drones
of the
around
loyal
you.
wingman
Hey, we know that picture, Chad.
concept, or collaborative
The loyal wingman concept.
aircraft.
Well, there you go. Future of air warfare. Loyal wingman concept. That seems to be the future.
Or CCA. In this idea, the manned FA-XX would embark on its own mission with up to 4 accompanying drones, with each capable of executing a variety.
But these drones, how can a drone this small have the same speed if they don't have that super sick engine? Does the fighter jet have to slow down on purpose so the drones can keep up?
Actions.
Or he they're on them and then he spreads them out like an insect?
This could range anywhere from simple decoy missions to scouting parties. Just try to imagine a world where a next-gen fighter jet is able to penetrate deep into enemy territory, sending ahead one drone to decommission any potential electronic threats, having another one trail to keep an eye on the squad's rear.
Well, there you go.
And
There we have
keeping
the future of air warfare right here.
Aircraft as
Stream is
potential
over.
decoys or defensive deterrents. Of course,
Jesus.
this is only one potentiality for these kinds of missions.
Clever.
The true possibilities are endless, especially when taking AI integration and data sharing into consideration. With the use of AI, The 4 drones could independently perform their tasks without the FA-XX pilot needing to distract themselves, leaving them to focus only on their target while the drones handle every other threat. Of course, the system will have human-in-the-loop control.
This really shows you why they're fighting so hard. Who makes the best AI right now?
So the pilot's input
the AI is going to be such a big part.
They just won't have to micromanage the drones after giving initial commands. Needless to say, this could turn an aircraft from a simple stealth fighter into a tiny armada capable of devastating any foes.
That is so creepy, man.
With the Navy
I don't want to fuck
leading
with that.
the way in future air combat,
I don't want to fight
this
that.
has led many to wonder just what the Air Force is.
Is that the official Air Force symbol? That literally looks like Transformer symbol. That looks like Optimus Prime has it on his chest.
After all, they're supposed to be the main avionic branch of the military. Well, if the 5th generation stealth jets proved anything, they kind of are. Or at least have been for the last 3 decades. Fighters like the F-22 have dominated the skies, while innovations from the Air Force have...
But I have a question. What does that mean, dominated the sky? Did ever we were in real war? In Iraq? In Afghanistan? You don't have a real enemy. I mean, have they ever been really tested? In a real war? You know what I mean? I feel like if you're America going into Iraq, your 3rd generation would also dominate the sky, you know?
Kept aircraft technology...
The thing is, they make no one want the war, yeah.
Advancing non-stop. So, it made perfect sense when they announced that they would be leading the world in 6th generation fighters via the Next Generation Air Dominance, or NGAD, initiative. Basically, everything that we've discussed today were the intentions for the NGAD. However, the initiative has been faced with a series of setbacks. The program has been faced with redesign after redesign, forcing many potential bidders like Northrop to back out. This has caused more problems in the form of funding issues, and while a few backers like Boeing and Lockheed Martin are still in, officials at these companies have threatened to back out if NGAD requirements continue to change.
Did you mention Lockheed Martin and you get a green light on a Pentagon contract? You just print money, man. The best contract ever is taxpayer money, right?
Meanwhile, though an official contractor has yet to be announced on the FA-XX, no one has backed out either, with many fully invested in the project and convinced that it will move ahead as scheduled. On top of this, while NGAD has stated that it will be focused solely on air superiority, the FA-XX will take on multi-dominance roles, meaning that even if both are completed in unison, the Navy stealth fighter will be a lot more versatile. This could not only mean that the Navy will be the next leader in avionics, but that they will do so completely independent of the Air Force and other military bodies. Overall, the FA-XX is...
Imagine you're the US Air Force, but the Navy has better jets than you.
...more than just a fighter jet. It's a leader in stealth technology, artificial intelligence, data sharing, and more. But is this the be-all and end-all of aircraft? Or will it just lead to yet another global arms race? Bye for now.
Hoi 4 was literally updated today? What are you talking about, Hoi 4 was updated today? Wait, that update was today? Shut up, today was a Hoi 4 update and the Hoi 4 streamer doesn't know. Shut up. What are you talking about? The prototype update. Wait. That came out today. Ah, it's just the pictures, right? Ah, that's not that interesting. Oh, it's just graphics, so I don't know. I don't care that much. I mean, that's kind of cool, I guess, but also... Honestly, I never look at that. I never even look at that stuff. No hate. I never look at that. Footage of a MiG fighting a Russian SU on the first day of invasion. This is safe for work, hopefully. Let's take a look. Shit, Alter, that's so creepy, man. Imagine the stress in that situation, eh? If he's behind you, you're kind of fucked, right? Oh, kacke, eh? Why is that other guy not shooting a rocket? Oh, scheiße. Oh, fuck, Alter, that was so close! That is so creepy, man. That will die fast, dude. Dude, it's just gone, dude. Ay. Here's footage of a pilot ejecting. Alter. I think that's about it. Damn, bro. But now Ukraine has no jets anymore or something, right? I actually have no idea. Ach du Scheiße. Oh, that's creepy. Oh. Alter, imagine going for shit like this, bro. Damn. Oi. That's millions of dollars just gone. Dude. It's like a movie, right? You probably just saw the shock in that moment. You don't even feel much. But that was very heavy, man. He might have broken his legs there, huh? Damn. Ach du Kacke. You know, it's like hands up and give up. Watch that one more time. Holy. What indicates to him it's over, I wonder? This looks all very old, to be honest. This all looks a bit old, huh? Shit, eh. He's waiting until he's over the field, huh? Clever. Ay. Damn. Alter Schwede, man. Holy shit, dude. Fuck me. Fuck me. We're still on the topic of the future of air warfare. Another article I found is this one. The UK rolls out jammer drones to shield F-35s and Typhoons. The UK launched the Storm Shroud drone wingman. So when we talk about today's topic, the future of air warfare, we hear that word wingman a lot, something you guys don't have. I'm your wingman. And with these drones that actually accompany fighter jets, drone wingmen designed to blind radars and draw fire away from far pricier manned aircraft like F-35 and Typhoon. They seem so intelligent to do that. Human-machine innovation bounds ahead outside the US. The Royal Air Force will for the first time benefit from high-end electronic warfare without needing crew to man it, the Defense Ministry and Prime Minister's office said in a joint statement. The Storm Shroud combines the TommyKay AR-3 unmanned aerial vehicle with the Leonardo UK Brightstorm electronic warfare payload. The AR-3 has more than 10,000 hours of flight time in Ukraine. They use that. The AR-3 is actually used in Ukraine. AR-3. That little mini thing. That little thing. We're just a bunch of hobby people. No, that's not real military shit.
The battlefield is buzzing.
Oh, a big video about drones in Ukraine. Oh, we have a lot of videos. We have a lot going on. The jamming research began in 2017. Together, it's the first in a line of autonomous collaborative platforms. I don't know, if I'm Russia, man, I feel like, okay, my enemies are preparing. So that's the emerging technology shaping air combat, AI-driven drones that explore how AI is revolutionizing drone capabilities, enabling autonomous mission and decision-making. While electronic warfare delves into the use of electronic warfare drones like the UK Storm Shroud. There we go, I did that already without reading that. I swear I didn't do that, I was checking that on my own. Like the Storm Shroud. And hypersonic missiles discussing the advancements like the US Navy Solid Fuel Integrated Rocket Ramjet, SFIRR, and their applications for speed. Global developments and case studies. Ukraine and Pakistan. We're going to watch a video on that in a sec. India and Pakistan Air Force engagement analyzed the recent clashes involving advanced fighter jets and the strategic use of UAV, but more importantly, the Ukraine conflict, which we have a video prepared for right now. I have a lot of shit ready. Tommy's leaked his Air AI script. Russia's also developing stuff, and we already have 2 bombing versions of those drones active.
The battlefield is buzzing with drones, but Russia never expected these. Not made of carbon fiber, not packed with space-age metal. These kamikaze drones tearing through Russian armor, they're made of wood. Crafted from plywood, guided by AI,
This video is 1 day
and
old.
financed by Germany, These loitering munitions are slamming into tanks, shredding radar systems, and punching holes in Russian lines. And they're doing it quietly, cheaply, and
I don't hear much from Ukraine lately. I just know Zelensky is in Istanbul right now, but Putin didn't come, that little pussy.
The world's fourth largest economy is helping Ukraine strike deep behind enemy lines, not with flashy jets or billion-dollar missiles, but with smart, swarming, wooden aircraft. It sounds absurd, but for Putin's forces on the ground, it's nothing short of a nightmare. So how did these wooden drones become one of the deadliest tools in Ukraine's arsenal? And what's coming next in this drone war that Russia is clearly losing? Let's break it down. Germany has been one of the primary suppliers of military aid to Ukraine ever since the full-scale war between Russia and Ukraine broke out, following Russia's full-scale invasion in February 2022.
Three Ukrainians in my house because they brought furniture up, and they were so strong, man. Yeah, they were really strong.
By the end of 2024, the German government had made around $49 billion available in bilateral support for Ukraine. And there's every indication that the support will keep on arriving. Following the February 2025 elections, Germany's new government appears even more committed to Ukraine's defense than the outgoing administration of former Chancellor
Which is
Olaf
nice, I
Scholz.
like that.
But before leaving office,
like
Scholz's government left Ukraine a parting gift. On March 19th, the outgoing government agreed to release an additional $3.4 billion in military aid for Ukraine in 2025, after lawmakers approved plans for a fiscal overhaul. Scholz had insisted on easing borrowing rules for additional aid of this scale. Furthermore, former finance minister
The government in Germany is now finished for 1 week, yeah.
Kukis has outlined plans to authorize an additional $9.32 billion in military aid to Ukraine between 2026 and 2029, which would bring Germany's total commitment to over $12.4 billion. To date, German assistance has included 3 US-made Patriot, 6...
And I'm going to once again share my opinion, which makes some radicals unfollow, but this makes me proud of Germany. Germany is a country Germans are often not proud of. This makes me proud. I like that my taxpayer money goes there.
IRIS-T-SLM
I like
and
this
5
very, very much.
IRIS-T-SLS
And I think we're
air
not doing
defense
enough.
systems, and 60 Gepard self-propelled air defense gun systems, including 330,000 ammunition rounds, among a host of other weapons. But in recent months, it's been a less glamorous and much less costly form of assistance that's arguably been making the biggest difference on the battlefield for Ukraine.
Don't wear a fisher hat, bro.
We're talking, of course, about drones. On April 11th, acting German Defense Minister Boris Pistorius announced a new German military aid package at a meeting of the Ukraine contact group in Brussels.
There's a chance.
The package will include more guided missiles and ground surveillance radars, a further 100,000 rounds of artillery ammunition, 25 Marder infantry fighting vehicles, 15 Leopard 1A5 tanks, 120 man-powered
The thing about Ukraine really is that all sides are learning a lot. What works, what doesn't work. It's like a real-life training ground for all this equipment,
systems,
right?
14 artillery systems, and another 300 reconnaissance drones. In terms of reconnaissance drones alone, that means Germany has now delivered, or committed to deliver, 619 vector drones, 684 RQ-30.
Talking about drones, man. I was thinking of buying a drone for surveillance. I think this is a story. I'm going to be fast about this. Me and Lisa have first little concerns that we have a local pedophile. This is a bit unfair. So there's this guy living in my neighborhood. I'm not going to go into much detail. He's a bit overweight, he's a bit older, and he's from a different country. No hate. And he always comes to us when we're on the playground or whatever, and he talks to all the kids. But we fought for a while, and we still think that he's just mentally impaired. He seems a bit simple, right? But he like drives a car and stuff. So I don't know about that. So this morning I bring my kid to kindergarten, and I know the guy, right? I know him, and he's stopping his car next to us, and he ignores me and is just talking to my kid, right? He's like, "Hello, little man. How you doing, little man? You going to kindergarten, little man?" And he's like ignoring me, only talking to him. And that was the first time I was like, buddy, man. He always talks to us in the playground, and it's very awkward. All the parents are like, and everybody just thinks he's like retarded, like legit retarded. But he like drives a car and stuff. So it's getting weird. I texted, I put down his license plate. And it's a weird situation because we don't know if he's just mentally impaired. But it's weird. Me and Lisa talked about this, and we want to, the next time he talks to my kid, we're going to be like, talk to me, not to my kid. Don't ignore me, right? But it's weird, right? You can't call the police on someone like this. You don't know if really something's going on. Maybe he's just a bit mental. I said to Lisa, in my experience from 34 years, you should always take this stuff serious. You have to always be a bit careful. But yeah, that's why I had a bit of a bad mood earlier today, because I just felt like I have to care about this now. I have to. That's what always makes me frustrated. That I kind of have shit to do. I'm a busy man, and I have to care about that now. If there's like a guy who's weird in the neighborhood, and it's always weird, man. He always like we're on the playground, and he like walks by, and he's like talking to all the kids, and he's like nice, right? He's just like, "Hello, little man, you doing good?" And all the parents are like, and it's weird. What if he's just a nice guy, right? You don't know. It's hard, man. It's hard.
35 hydrants, 211 songbirds, 46
chance,
Hornet
right? There's a
XRs,
chance something is not
60
okay
golden eagles, 2 VT4 Rockens, and 18 Primoco 1s.
And it's a bit sad that maybe he's just a nice guy, but now I'm like, oh, he's a pedophile. What if he isn't, right? It's pretty unfair.
These drones have undoubtedly been a huge boost to Ukraine's armed forces. They're invaluable for identifying offensive targets for Ukraine's artillery and attack drones to obliterate, as well as helping to spot and thwart Russian attacks. But Germany has also supplied Ukraine with some of its most advanced attack drones. And it's these that are starting to give the Russian President Vladimir Putin serious
Talk to him to get to know more? That's actually a great idea. Talk to him to get to know more. That's a great idea.
We're talking about the HF-1 loitering munition made by the German company Helsing. These drones are packed.
There's a German company called Helsing? Oh, that's fucking metal.
With state-of-the-art technology that gives them the edge on the battlefield, as we'll discover shortly. But perhaps their most striking feature is that their frames are made from simple plywood. According to reports from troops in the field, HF-1s are being used against a variety of targets, from armored vehicles and air defense systems to logistics and warehouses. And with an effective operating distance of 27 to 31 miles, Ukrainian drone operators say that HF-1s are delivering very unpleasant surprises to the Russians, as they can reach calmer places behind the front lines where they're not expected. This allows the operators to catch targets like parked vehicles or troops before their rotation to the front line unguarded. As noted, the HF-1 is mainly made of plywood, which reduces the weapon's...
That's something I always thought about, right? The problem of wars, it's all very, very expensive. So if you find ways to make effective equipment that gets a lot done while it's very cheap, clever as fuck, man.
Production cost. You might think that such a lightweight and frankly flimsy material might not be robust enough for the rigors of battle. But as one operator explains, the material from which the plane is made does not matter in principle, and you can use any material as long as it flies. It can be made of wood or foam, completely printed on a 3D printer, and so on. The aircraft doesn't care. In our case, being made of wood makes it even better because it's radar transparent and better suited for operations at long distances. Now, wood isn't completely invisible to radar, especially advanced modern radar systems. The US's best-in-class THAAD system, for example, is said to be able to track a baseball thrown in New Orleans from a location in New York. So it...
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! I don't believe that for a second.
Can certainly detect trees, let alone wooden aircraft. But wood does significantly reduce the radar signature, which is especially true if low moisture wood is used. Plywood isn't particularly low moisture per se, as it can absorb moisture from the air and change its dimensions and strength properties accordingly, but can be treated with special adhesives and coatings to improve its resistance to water damage and absorption. And that seems to be the case with the HF-1. Its plywood fuselage reduces radar visibility and acts as a heat insulator, lowering the drone's infrared signature and making it harder for air defenses to detect and engage, whether by radar, heat-seeking missiles, or gun systems. And despite its unconventional construction, the wooden body has no negative impact on flight performance. According to the German Ministry of Defense, 1,050 HF-1s have already been delivered to Ukraine.
I didn't know
there
that.
are 600 that are known to have been delivered in January, and 150 were delivered between March 17th and April 18th. According to the manufacturer Helsing, Ukraine has ordered 4,000 HF-1s in total, financed by Germany. It's also ordered a further 6,000 of the even more advanced HX-2 loitering munition, also made with plywood. We'll discuss these more in detail later. Helsing, the German defense tech startup backed by Spotify's Daniel Ek and others, started as an AI software company but pivoted into strike drones in 2024. It now claims, with some justification, to be one of the largest strike drone manufacturers globally. Helsing produces a mix of hardware and software.
So Germany is doing not too bad, huh?
Including its
we have a big drone
ultra-platform
manufacturer?
that
I didn't know that.
connects
Spotify
We solve the hard
drones.
problems in the software layer, not the electronics, as co-founder Nicholas Kohler puts it. And their solution certainly seems to be making a difference on the battlefield. Combat footage from Belgorod Oblast from mid-April reveals how the Ukrainians successfully utilized HF-1s to destroy Russian Pantsir S-1 and Buk M3 radar systems, conducting the strikes at least 30 miles behind the front lines. HF-1 drones have also been used to eliminate key personnel like officers and commanders, as evidenced by a strike on a vehicle at a Russian training ground which reportedly belonged to a unit commander. Indeed, judging by the increasing number of Ukrainian strikes far behind enemy lines, the Russians are struggling to find an answer to the increasing number of high-tech Ukrainian strike drones
never
appearing
show
on the
rank to
battlefield.
anyone.
So what gives the
Always keep
HF-1
rank hidden.
its edge? The HF-1 is electrically powered and features an
Happy
X-wing
78
configuration,
Thank you, Big Daddy,
4
my
wings and
friend, man.
rotors in an
78,
X-shaped
Jesus.
arrangement. It's designed to be cost-effective for mass production and has been developed and tested based on Helsing's extensive experience in Ukraine. Indeed, the latest upgrades are being carried out in conjunction with Ukraine's armed forces. As noted earlier, the drone is capable of flying for about an hour and has an operational loitering range of 27 to 31 miles, and up to 62 miles when directed at a known target. Ukrainian forces can operate the HF-1 drone manually, guiding it toward present targets and relying on terminal guidance to bypass Russian electronic warfare in the final phase of the flight. However, it's also equipped with onboard AI that can autonomously detect, identify, and lock onto targets. As our drone operator explains, our drone is equipped with a homing system that helps to capture a target and lock until it's hit. This is a plus because if we lose contact with the drone, the video signal or control, the drone reaches the target and strikes it. Elaborating further, he said, in homing mode, the aircraft is not affected by
being
electronic
inside
warfare,
a vehicle, bro.
which the enemy vehicle might be carrying. From the moment the target is locked on, the aircraft takes control and gets to the target independently. So it's deadly and difficult to bring down. And if the HF-1 is giving Putin headaches, the upgraded HX-2 is bound to give him sleepless nights. Unveiled in December 2020.
What I sometimes feel about Putin is, I know when you're like a crazy maniac dictator like Hitler and shit, it happens. But do they sleep at night? Like even Hitler was like, oh, right? I mean, Putin must be stressed, man. That the whole fucking life, you don't know who wants to kill you and poison you, and there's a fucking war and shit. That shit must be so stressful, bro.
The HX-2 is designed from the ground up to be...
There's no fucking way the guy just is like, I'm fine. I'm sleep like baby.
Software-based, mass-producible, and swarm-capable. Like
I'm stressed if my subcon is below 3K. This guy is like the biggest villain on the world right now.
Precision munition with a range of up to 62 miles and an even longer strike distance. Advanced onboard AI enables full electronic warfare and jamming resistance. The company says those capabilities were developed and tested through its extensive experience with the HF-1 in Ukraine. Moreover, when operating as part of Helsing's Ultra Recce Strike software, multiple HX-2s can assemble into swarms, controlled by a single human operator. That allows one operator to simultaneously target entire convoys or group targets. HX-2 has been designed to be mass-producible at significantly lower cost per unit than conventional systems, thus providing a powerful complement to artillery systems. As Kohler notes, with HX-2 we are creating a new smart effector category that combines mass, autonomy, and precision. Individual HX-2s can reliably engage armored targets.
What I always hate in the army is you had so much armor on. I know it's important to protect you, but I always felt I was very clunky and slow when I was in full gear with Kevlar and shit. I always felt I'd rather be fast and agile. Because if they hit you in the head, you're fucked anyway. At least get into
it's
cover
in highly
fast.
contested environments.
I always felt very
when deployed along borders
stuck
at
with
scale,
all that gear,
HX-2 can serve as a powerful counter-invasion shield against enemy land forces. According to the company, HX-2 is already in production, and the core technology is already deployed in Ukraine. It's busy ramping up production via a new concept it calls resilience factories. There are new types.
Number one thing you need to do first when World War III happens, stop smoking.
Of high-efficiency production facility designed to ensure local and sovereign manufacturing capabilities for nation-states. Ukraine has ordered 6,000 HX-2s in total, although it's unclear how many have already been delivered. The HX-2s are
Many Ukrainian soldiers are reporting back problems because of armor and shit.
Manufactured at Helsing's first resilience factory.
Maybe they also have back problems because they're carrying the entire Western world. On their back is a good one, right?
RF-1. This facility is operational in southern Germany and has an initial monthly production capacity of more than 1,000 HX-2s. However, as the company notes, it can also scale manufacturing rates to tens of thousands of units in case of a conflict. The company hasn't disclosed pricing, but claims its approach leads to lower unit costs and more scalable production than competing options such as the AeroVironment Switchblade and its advanced sensors. Alongside the Helsing deliveries, Ukraine is also ramping up domestic production of the US-designed Switchblade 600 drones, a lighter-to-carry alternative to Javelin anti-tank missiles at half the cost. Also
Well, there you go. What's the future of warfare? Drones.
Loitering munition, it carries a warhead based on that of the FGM-148 Javelin anti-tank guided missile. The warhead detonates above the target where the armor is weakest, making it highly effective against
This is just a
armored
shopping
targets.
video of
With a
drones?
range of 25 to 50 miles and over 40 minutes of flight time, it's already proven its effectiveness by destroying Russia's most advanced armor, the T-90M tanks and Terminator BMPs. Expanding their use within infantry units will significantly boost Ukraine's anti-tank and deep strike capabilities, even at the smallest tactical levels. The drone can be carried in a backpack, set up and operational in less than 10 minutes, and is equipped with class-leading high-resolution EOIR gimbaled sensors and advanced precision flight control. These features enable operators to fly, track, and engage non-line-of-sight targets and armored vehicles with precision, lethal effects. If effectively employed, these loitering munitions could seriously disrupt Russian logistics and planning, and potentially play a critical role in dismantling Russia's predicted summer offensive before it begins. But the advanced loitering munitions available to Ukraine certainly don't end there. In fact, Ukraine is also about to receive another major kamikaze drone boost, this time thanks to the UK. On March 6th, the UK government announced that it will be funding the delivery of cutting-edge Altius 600M and Altius 700M loitering munitions.
So it's interesting how after 3 years it becomes apparent that the shipment of drones is a very, very big help.
From Anglo-American
in the
defense
first month, nobody was
contractor
really thinking about
the
that.
UK has already provided over 10,000 military drones to Ukraine.
Warfare will be boring in the future, lol. Can we get a lol? Warfare is boring in the future, lol. Let's put lol in the chat, man. Very lol.
Since the war began.
Big
the new contracts are worth around $40 million.
Russia had a big breakthrough in Torres.
And are backed by the UK-administered
This is why I think Putin doesn't really want to sue for peace, because he still probably thinks he can
Fund for Ukraine,
get more.
or IFU. The IFU fund now stands at more than $1.7 billion worth of pledges from 10 countries, of which the UK has contributed $665 million. What makes these advanced drones so special? The Altius 600M is a multi-purpose unmanned system with a modular design, capable of carrying a payload of up to 6.6 pounds. It can be equipped with various payloads ranging from warheads for kamikaze drone operations to advanced optical stations and electronic warfare systems. The larger 700M can carry warheads as heavy as 30.
Fake news, they're still fighting in Toretsk. I don't know much about Ukraine right now. I don't want to get involved. I have no idea what's going on.
With a wingspan of 8.33 feet, the drone quickly deploys after being launched from the system, after which its rear-mounted engine with the two-blade propeller is activated. Both the Altius 600M and 700M are capable of being launched from fixed-wing or rotor-wing aircraft at low or high altitudes, as well as from ground vehicles and watercraft. It's controlled by an operator from a ground control station or can operate autonomously along a pre-programmed route. According to Militani, it can stay airborne for up to 4 hours and cover a distance of up to 276 miles. The drones are actually adaptations of Anduril's Altius 600 and 700 small drones. Ukraine has been using the 600 since at least February 2023, when the US included some in a tranche of aid that also included Switchblade 600s, Jump 20s, and Cyberlux K8s. They're designed for missions ranging from ISR data collection and kinetic engagement to radio frequency decoy use, signals intelligence, and communications reading. But the 600M and 700M are designed to kill. In a video released by Anduril in April 2023, the 600M is seen being deployed by an MRZR all-terrain vehicle, by a UH-60 Black Hawk helicopter, and from a ground launcher. The drone is seen scoring a direct hit on a container target on a range, resulting in an impressive fireball. The type of warhead fitted and its mass were not disclosed, although the basic...
Here, my hotel was right here. I fucking love London, and my hotel was right here. That was my hotel room. Yeah, right here. I think right here was my hotel room. London is so beautiful. Can you see the destroyer? No, there's like an old World War II destroyer. Yeah, right here. There's an old destroyer you can visit. It's actually in Hoi that destroyer. HMS Hood, I think. Is it the HMS Hood? No.
Drone has an overall weight of between 20 to 27 pounds, depending on its payload, which typically weighs between 3 and 7 pounds.
Belfast.
The first video footage of testing the 700M appeared in March 2024.
You can visit
the 700M had never previously been tested with a live warhead, and the size of its payload is a significant feature of this version of the drone. The 33-pound warhead capacity is comparable to that of the AGM-114 Hellfire missile. That means the 700M can deliver highly precise, devastating strikes on large and armored targets, including tanks, vehicles, vessels, and infrastructure, according to Anduril. At the same time, the combination of a heavier warhead with high terminal velocity and optional...
I know I sound like an idealist little cuckold right now, but imagine there will be no more war and all this money is put somewhere else. How fast will we build technology to fix global warming, right?
Delayed fuse means the
I know,
700M can
bullshit.
easily penetrate target walls
happen.
to deliver maximum effect on armored targets, the company claims. The 700M has a range of up to 100 miles and 75 minutes of flight time. This is significantly less than the smaller 600M, which, as noted earlier, has a range of up to 276 miles with 4 hours of endurance. But the 700M's primary role is as a loitering munition, so it makes sense that destructive power has been optimized at the expense of range and endurance. Like the HX-2, both the 600M and 700M also have the potential to have multiple assets operate together as a networked swarm. The US Army in particular has been testing just such concepts, with the Altius series offering the possibility of having swarms of drones in multiple configurations, which could then be cooperatively tasked to perform various missions. In 2022, the US Army demonstrated this potential by launching 4 waves of 7 Altius 600 drones in what was, at the time, the largest networked sortie of air-launched effects, or ALE, drones of its kind. A single operator was able to control the swarm of drones as they
look, man, as kid we played Game Boy, now this guy's playing real-life war Game Boy.
Simulated enemy positions ahead.
It's like a video game.
The 600M and 700M's abilities to provide troops with the capability to strike targets at a useful standoff distance will be incredibly useful to Ukraine. So will their loitering time on station, during which they can locate targets and deliver kinetic effects. Like other loitering munitions, these advanced drones provide an effect disproportionate to their size.
I mean, video games are a conspiracy theory. They were only made, like Call of Duty, to make us ready for World War III, so we know how to take cover and shit,
700M's large penetrating warhead, in particular, makes it lethal for even heavier armored vehicles. In the meantime, while it waits for delivery of the new HF-1s, HX-2s, 600Ms and 700Ms, Ukraine's domestic drone production continues to raise the bar when it comes to drone manufacturing globally. Kyiv has said it produced 2.2 million drones last year, compared to Moscow's 1.5 million. In December, the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense reported that more than 1.2 million drones of various types have been delivered by Ukrainian firms during the first 11 months of the year. That includes over 40,000 reconnaissance multi-rotor.
I never understand this argument. On the other hand, military innovation is driving civil advancement. Yeah, but I don't like that argument. I think even without investing into military, we will probably still advance in other sectors.
12,000 of which are equipped for night operations. 5,000 fixed-wing reconnaissance UAVs, such as the Shark, Hawk, and Furia models. 6,000...
In warfare, there's no gay names. There's no, hey, our new drone is called Pegasus. Hey, guys, we're releasing a new tank called Cow. Yeah, we have a new UAV coming out, and it's called Mike. You know, it's always Shark, Thunderstorm.
Deep strike drones, including the AN-196 Luti and Firepoint models. 2,000 reusable attack UAVs like the Nemesis, Kazan.
And there is the Pegasus. Hey, there is the Pegasus. You fucker.
And Vampire, and more than 5,000 reusable FPV quadcopters. And a few of these locally produced drones are even being made from wood. Russia has a basic wooden drone of its own in regular use on the front lines, the Molniya, or Lightning, fixed-wing FPV drone. While it must be carried by 3 soldiers in 10 pieces in their backpacks, it is reportedly very light, easy to assemble, and carries a low cost for a drone of its kind. It's launched using a pneumatic catapult, can operate for up to 40 minutes with a range of up to 18.6 miles, can reach speeds of up to 50 miles per hour, and is designed not to come back. The fuselage is made of 2 longitudinal aluminium tubes, but the rest, including the center section and wings, is made of plywood. The control systems, electronics, and batteries are stored inside, and there is a camera in the nose that transmits video signals to the operator's glasses. This simple design, with its low cost and high combat effectiveness, is now being copied by Ukraine, using captured examples to take the best features from the Russian version. If the Ukrainian variant mirrors the Russian drone accurately, it'll replicate its 5-foot wingspan, 22-pound weight, and its combat load capability of up to 11 pounds. Needless to say, these kamikaze drones lack the sophistication, AI enhancement, and ability to be networked into swarms like the HX-2 and other advanced systems we've discussed. But with tens of thousands of drones being expended by both sides every month, every little bit helps, regardless of what it's made from or where it originates. But what do you think? Which of the new drones available to Ukraine is going to make the most difference on the battlefield and far behind enemy lines?
Fucking videos like this, always clickbaiting. So we come to a lot of conclusions here, man, that just talks about the future of warfare is being autonomous warfare drones, right? Yeah. I want to now stop the ChatGPT stuff and just watch videos. ChatGPT says in the end, the landscape of air warfare is rapidly evolving with technological advancement, challenging traditional doctrines, and introducing new strategic considerations. By exploring these developments, you can provide your audience with comprehensive understanding, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Now, let's stop reading stuff, because that's too high for everyone. And let's just watch a few more videos I have some videos prepared. Inside the US military's new dual warfare school. The Air Force's prediction for the future of warfare. Top 10 stealth fighters. Probably too childish and no one cares. Tech news. Future of air warfare next generation. And the terrifying efficiency of drone warfare. That's, I think, it. That's the cinema I'm providing today. I think that's enough for this deep dive, where we quickly come to the conclusion, right, of autonomous use of drones, of the mixing of a manned fighter jet with what was that word we looked for? I think like the biggest word today of this deep dive was what was it called? Not the friend, the wingman. The wingman doctrine, that a fighter jet can drop certain wingman drones. Let's check out a bit more stuff inside the US drone warfare school. Wall Street Journey from 1 year ago. Dude, he's fucking all of these people up. Shit. Dude, look at them. They're building a defensive perimeter. He's even like defending them. But they're all getting fucking killed, dude. Jesus. Honestly, man, I know this sounds very from fat streamers in Germany, but in World War III, man, stay away from each other, man. You gotta do social distancing, really. If I would lead a squad of 10 soldiers, if you're my boys, man, we're gonna not get close, my friends. You're gonna stay the fuck away from me. It's like, it reminds me of the MG42 scene from Private Ryan, right? Don't give them a target. Make them, if you're a single guy, it's a waste of ammo. Like Omaha Beach, it was, right, I think. You gotta spread out, man.
Israeli forces in Gaza.
Shit, bro.
The proliferation of small, cheap, commercially available drones.
I always said that when we played Hell Let Loose, man. Get away from me. Get away. What do you think of soldiers using GoPros and filming the brutality? I think you all know what I'm saying now, that when the Ukraine war started, I did a lot of doom scrolling. I was watching everything. All the videos, all the footage. And honestly, I don't think I have a hard time watching this. I can still sleep afterwards. It is gruesome and terrifying and stressful what these people go through on both sides. It's ridiculous that human beings have to go through the stress because of stupid shit like Putin deciding to invade and stuff. It's just sad. But on the other hand, man, I'm gonna say something pretty raw. I in a weird way, always respectfully watched and sometimes still watch Ukraine warfare, because I feel like, here we go, this is gonna be sounding weird, but I feel like it's a bit of preparation. I feel like it's natural selection evolution thingy. I feel like by watching Ukrainian warfare, I kind of understand a bit. Okay, so this is how I have to behave in World War III. Okay, this guy died because he did this wrong. This, and then this happened, and this, and that, and this. And he didn't check the corner, blah, blah, blah. Stuff like that. In a weird way, and maybe this just fucked up in my head, but I would watch warfare and learn from it and be like, okay, so this is how you have to actually do it, and this is how you don't do it. Where do you watch this? I'm not gonna say that out loud, bro. I mean, it's not hard to find, but it's crazy, man. Crazy shit. Crazy shit. Keep your head down right. Don't smoke. Stay away from each other. Be ultra careful peeking corners. Use a mirror. How many videos I saw where someone is peeking? Boom, adios. It's all about suppression. You gotta suppress the enemy. And shit like that. It's obviously very deep shit, man. Like real life war. That's deep. About war, watching all this footages, everybody has a different personality. It's like when you get drunk. Everyone is different. I think if you're in real combat, you will see what your brain does. You shit your pants, or you just go in fucking robot mode or something. I don't know, man. The guy in the previous video said that there's this new technology that this is you, and you're trying to jam my drone. But my drone already found you. And before I'm in your range, it goes here it loses contact, but they just said that new technology still then connects like this, even though you're turning it off. Like if I send them on this trajectory and you turn me off here, I don't know. I don't know if that will work in real life. Okay, here we have real footage. EDM4S. Oh, shit. You shoot that thing even. Okay, that's the fucking future, man. Holy shit. How the fuck's that real? Jesus Christ. Uh-huh. But from how far away? If you shoot that at your comrade set, he gets brain cancer? A railway gun. Okay, okay.
Centralize the training so that we can all have interoperability as we work together and integrate the systems.
They literally used it on the Pope's funeral. They used... What the fuck? Alter, we're living in the future. They did that to stop drones. My name is John. I make a new company. I make a beautiful drone for you. You can make great picture with you and girlfriend. You can make very good shots for your YouTube vlog. Yes. That is not how to have. She comes home, man. Honey, how was work? Well, today I was studying drone warfare, honey. What did you do? Oh, you know, I did create dilemmas for your enemy, man. What else do we have? What else do we have? This video looks terrible, by the way. This looks very good. What do we have here? The Air Force prediction for the future of warfare, though. A future of warfare that could work. Layered approach sounded intelligent.
With China recently unveiling its new stealth aircraft in testing and the future of America's own next-generation air dominance fighter still uncertain, the Air Force released its 22-page vision of the future of air warfare and a new...
I was like, why do you release that? Shouldn't that all be classified? If I'm the USA, I'm gonna tell nobody about anything. Fuck the public. Maybe it's because you want to make them happy about their taxes?
Released report entitled...
That's something I liked about Trump when Trump was... That's what Russia does. That's what I like when Trump got elected the first time. They were like, where's the carrier groups? And he said, listen, Obama, he told you where the carriers are. I'm never going to tell anyone. I'm telling nobody where the carriers are. I walked in here, I said, wow, where are the carriers?
Simply,
don't tell anyone, bro.
Air Force in 2050.
But yeah, deterrence, yeah.
The rapidly changing landscape of air
and probably
warfare,
public support,
including the need for a fundamental shift in the way the United States goes about designing and procuring new combat aircraft like fighters, emphasizing the need to dramatically increase both the number and range of new jets entering service due to the persistent and growing threat of long-range cruise and ballistic missile strikes on forward air bases. And those aren't the only threats the Air Force is concerned about, but predictions of adversaries fielding air defense interceptors that can bring down aircraft at 1,000-mile ranges, China's nuclear arsenal ballooning to thousands of
missile in home, but that means he probably knows what he's talking about.
Of conventional missile strikes on the U.S. mainland, the Air Force paints a picture of America at a crossroads, with two potential paths forward. The first is a Defense Department and lawmaker class
this makes me want to watch Top Gun.
Continues to resist change, that keeps old and obsolete weapons and aircraft in service well beyond their useful lifespans for political reasons, and that aims to win the next big conflict by preparing for the last one. This path, the Air Force warns, will lead to an outdated air power apparatus in 2050 that looks a lot like the one the Air Force has in service today. But the Air Force also outlines another possible path, one that's willing to embrace fundamental changes in the way America conducts air warfare, from the earliest stages of designing new systems all the way to their employment on the battlefield. Put simply,
Jesus Christ, that looks like I think that's an official Lockheed Martin commercial video. They're playing Call of Duty, bro.
The United States can no longer keep kicking this can down the road and must decide now which future its Air Force will fight in. One where the nation's aging air power apparatus struggles to address tomorrow's threats using yesterday's equipment, or one where America leans into emerging technologies the same way it did in the 20th century, not arriving at the future of air warfare, but rather shaping it themselves. So let's talk about the Air Force in 2050, the challenges that it'll face, and how the branch believes it can fight.
It's like a perfect video, man.
In the
Very
future.
good video.
I I'm Alex Holling.
It's nice when you don't have to talk to AI.
This is Air Power.
Damn, this could be our final video today. I don't think this... we already talked about drones enough. 1.5 million views though, holy shit. Maybe I will watch it. Huh.
Officially unveiled its first drone carrier, dubbed Marder Baman Baghari. According to Iranian state media reports, this ship can carry as many as 60 drones and operate at sea for up to a year.
Oh, drone carriers. Yeah, that makes so much sense. It's a, look how simple that carrier looks, but it makes so much sense. A drone carrier.
As a repurposed commercial vessel that would absolutely
that makes so much sense.
Fairly complex replenishments at sea for both fuel and
what the fuck? It's toy. It's little toys. Look at this.
To support its crew. And I've been staying on top of this story thanks to Ground News. Ground News is the top. So let's now the Lord and Russia lines down to ground that'll help. New stealth aircraft were photographed being tested over China, prompting a flood of media coverage.
China could beat us to the punch to a 6th-gen fighter, Air Force officials warn. I don't know if I'm really dumb here, I might be fucking retarded, but I'm always a bit careful with these dictatorships like Russia and China. They always act really, oh, they're very scary, whoa. But then reality hits, right? Russia invades Ukraine. Oh no, they can't take it. We now have the Chinese anti-air systems in Pakistan, which fully fucking failed when the Indians attacked. And I'm always a little bit like, it's like how this is the strength of China, but how much is real strength? I always wonder. I don't know the answer, but
speculation about the capabilities these jets could provide the Pacific
But when the world
nation.
is like, yeah, China has the best fighter jet ever. Oh my god, do they?
And how these hypothetical threats
made in
stack
China
up against America's existing ability to defend against them. As we've discussed on this channel before, that discourse was, for the most part, more about internet hyperbole and sensationalism than a concrete understanding.
What I just said, that guy gets me.
What these platforms would ultimately be able to do. After all, these test flights may point to China's air warfare priorities, but even the most optimistic timelines still place them years away from service, if indeed they ever even get
That's
there.
what I mean. You read these articles and these headlines, and it's like, oh wow, oh god, China has a guinea pig monster. Oh my god.
But while it's important not to overstate the significance of these new developments, it's just as important not to understate them either. During my recent trip to NORAD and Spacecom a few months ago, this was among the few points echoed throughout every meeting I attended. Now, I wasn't allowed
Wait, this guy goes to meetings? Dude, this guy goes to meetings. How fucking cool is that?
On premises, but to pair.
Sometimes I feel like it must be very easy to be a Russian spy in the US. Hello, how you doing? So, you know, I'm trying to figure stuff out about the new fighter jet. Oh, don't worry, mate. I got it all right here. 22 pages. We're trying to get it, but the Congress is saying no. It's gonna have this, this, and that. It's gonna be fucking sick. You can play the Watanda right now, buddy.
Paraphrase how this point was conveyed. It went something like, China is not the Taliban. They are a well-funded and highly motivated adversary with significant resources and rapidly expanding capabilities to bring to bear. Now, this point was often followed by another, even more unnerving statement that Northcom values so much, they painted it on the wall. The homeland is no longer a sanctuary. And the Air Force's assessment of the next quarter century in air warfare echoes this sentiment directly in a number of important ways. I'll quote the report now. China's massive investment in air, land, and sea-launched medium-range systems and systems that reach the so-called second island chain and beyond have already put traditional Air Force systems and operating concepts at risk. We can
even from
only
space,
expect this trend to continue. In
that would probably be a thing like 50 years, that there are satellites around and they could drop weapons and stuff, and now you have to care about destroying enemy satellites and shit.
We should expect to be under threat of ultra-long-range precision weapons at any range and launched from any domain, including space. There will be no sanctuary from these weapons. While the Air Force is focused on maintaining...
Same guy made a video on a cutting-edge new Chinese fighter. Ooh. Okay. Lots of content here for the future of air warfare.
Edge in the air power domain, their analysis of the threat environment in
that thing alone can take out a whole city, man. Holy shit.
Threats than those posed by fighters, bombers, and long-range missiles. I'll quote the report again. Even a largely localized conflict will come to the U.S. homeland, and not only through the possible use of long-range precision kinetic
Makes it interesting if you think like if some crazy lunatics like ISIS could ever get their hands on like a long-range missile and throw it into LA or some shit, right?
And non-military infrastructure,
but you will think there's a defense against that.
Human cognition itself will be at risk of kinetic and non-kinetic attack in cyber and information domains. This will affect military operations conducted by the Air Force and Space Force, but also have a broader societal impact. In other words, the Air Force paints a stark picture of military competition in 2050. One defined not by highly maneuverable fighters squaring off in dynamic dogfights, but rather by long-range munitions raining havoc down on once seemingly out-of-reach targets with enough precision and regularity to upend America's current approach to force projection. Even in the air, a domain long dominated by the United States, the Air Force views establishing lasting air superiority over contested regions of the globe in 2050 as something that may only be achievable in localized areas for short periods of time, with air assets being used to police these spaces under constant threat from rapidly advancing surface-to-air missiles. As the Air Force sees it, forward-located fixed air bases where the United States can mass air power for prolonged combat operations will no longer be a viable option as long-range strikes mounted by ballistic, cruise, and
I just had a weird idea. If I was an American scientist, here's what I will do. It just came to me. So we have the Pacific Ocean, right? We're trying to get close to China. I would create submarine carriers. So you have a submarine, huge submarine, and it's flat on the top. And so the Chinese, when they're throwing grenades and stuff, they're like scary, but I'm hidden underwater. And then we're like, okay, now we go. So we go up. I have a floating airfield. And now the jets jump from like Pearl Harbor. They come over. They come over for this for a time. But then you can't really take them with you, right? That's an ace combat. And then you refuel them, you attack, and then you retreat everything again. Underwater carriers, so they can arrive wherever they want.
For sonic missiles,
they're exploring this concept right now.
Kamikaze drones
I just know my things.
Turn them into turkey shoots, with American aircraft destroyed on the airstrip long.
Dubbed AN-1, the submarine aircraft carrier. And actually, no, you keep the airplanes inside. And then you, like, lift them up. So you don't even have to, like, bring them anywhere. Bro. TommyKay I just fixed it all. We're the largest submarines of World War II, with the final complete submarine being finished roughly a month before the end of the war. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you.
Before they ever even enter the fight. I'll quote the report again. Air forces that depend on a small number of easily targeted forward air bases will not be viable in 2050 and may not be viable today. Similarly, counter-air weapons with ranges out to over 1,000 miles and supported by space-based sensors will place aircraft such as tankers that have traditionally operated with impunity at risk. Now, it's worth noting that surface-to-air missiles with 1,000-mile ranges would represent a massive change in how air defense operations play out. And as that report highlights, they would all but certainly have to be supported through space-based sensors in order to be viable. Today's most advanced air defense systems often rely on multiple radar arrays broadcasting on different frequencies to identify, track, and eventually target threats at ranges into the hundreds of miles. But line of sight and the curvature of the Earth make extending that reach much further with surface-based radars pretty unlikely. Russia's S-400 Triumph, for instance, derives the 400 in its name from the maximum engagement range of its longest-legged interceptor, the 40N6, at roughly 400 kilometers, or around 250 miles. Even the newer S-500, which is allegedly already in limited service, can't reach targets further out than that, despite claiming an increased targeting range out to 600
Looks like you need to fly your jets very low, yeah, and work for free.
Miles,
you gotta be low.
Because Russia has yet to field an interceptor with greater range than the S-400's 40N6 missile for the S-500 to launch. China also employs Russian-sourced S-400 air defense systems, as well as its own H-29
These fucking rockets, man. Look at that shit.
Can be thought of as a sort of amalgamation of the Russian S-300 that it was based on, and command and control systems derived from American and Israeli air defense systems, sourced through a combination of espionage and the purchase of dual-use technologies from Western companies. Despite the commonalities between these systems, Russian and Chinese air defenses come with different strengths and weaknesses, with Russian systems generally believed to be more integrated with one another, but China's more broadly distributed and generally more mobile. Neither nation, however, currently has the publicly disclosed means to engage airborne threats from any greater than 250 miles or so at best, or to even be able to identify them at greater ranges than maybe 370 or so miles. But the Air Force clearly believes one, if not both of these nations, will be able to quadruple their interceptor range and marry that capability to precision target tracking from space-based sensors within the next 2.5 decades. Long-range precision targeting of forward air bases, along with the ability to shoot down encroaching aircraft at 1,000-mile ranges, the Air Force believes will force a shift in America's air warfare doctrine to achieving air superiority only episodically, as they put it, through what they call pulsed operations. Now, this is a dramatic departure from long-standing Air Force doctrine, and in a weird way, echoes Soviet air warfare doctrine first established during the Cold War, which was predicated on the acknowledgement that the Soviets couldn't mass sufficient air power to beat NATO in the sky, and instead would focus on securing airspace around combat operations and then ceding it again when no longer needed. This approach, however, has proven very ineffective over Ukraine, despite Russia's vast numerical and technological advantages, as demonstrated by Ukraine's ability to continue to not only operate a wide variety of tactical aircraft now about 3 years into this conflict, but just as importantly, to hold Russian fighters and bombers at continuous risk. That similarity shouldn't necessarily be seen as faulty logic on behalf of the Air Force, though, and instead might just highlight how immense overcoming this challenge can be. This seismic shift in the Air Force's envisioned doctrine, the 2050 report states, must come with a similarly significant change to the makeup of America's aircraft fleets. In such a future battle space, the Air Force sees relatively short-legged but otherwise very capable fighters, like even the F-22 Raptor, as increasingly irrelevant. I'll quote the report again. Penetrating bombers will still have utility for nuclear deterrence, but large numbers of penetrating bombers escorted by fighters capable of penetrating heavily defended airspace will have limited utility, especially given the potential availability of cost-effective standoff and loitering weapons. While the reasoning behind this assessment isn't off base, it does sound uncomfortably like similar assessments put forth in the 50s and 60s, as intercontinental ballistic missiles seem to render America's bomber and fighter fleets unnecessary. After all, if you can take out a target from the other side of the globe with a single missile, why bother building aircraft to fly all the way there and duke it out in the sky? However, this is one area where I'm inclined to disagree with the Air Force's conclusions. In 25 years, China may indeed have sufficient long-range strike capabilities to force the United States to operate over strategic rather than tactical ranges. But in a world that'll still have literally thousands of fourth-generation fighters in service all across the globe, as well as the inevitable localized conflicts breaking out that don't present the same
This is the longest I've ever been quiet, but I don't have much to say. He's explaining this very perfectly.
Massing a stockpile of single-use munitions with specific capabilities tailored for a high-end fight makes as little sense in 2050 as it does today.
Yeah, this is the perfect video for the topic
whether
today.
crewed or
You guys are doing great.
not only offer much greater flexibility than single-use munitions, they also offer important reusability, dramatically bringing down the cost of delivering ordnance to targets. Drone swarms, for instance, may be very effective at engaging certain types of targets, but they're not reusable, meaning the question isn't how many drones can you buy for the price of an F-35, but rather, how many drones would you need to buy to engage as many targets as a single F-35 can throughout its 8,000-hour service life? Likewise, building a massive
Why do they only have
stockpile
8,000 hours of service
high-end,
life?
low observable, single-use missiles will always present a greater cost than building reusable aircraft capable of delivering much lower-cost munitions to their target areas. America's longest-ranged cruise missiles in service today, weapons like the Tomahawk, with a range of better than 1,500 miles, or even a conventionally armed variant of the still-in-development AGM-181 long-range standoff weapon, each ring in at multiple millions of dollars apiece, and based on the Air Force's own assessments, likely don't offer enough range to be launched from relative safety in the years ahead. Now, that high cost is due.
That's something that becomes very apparent and interesting since Ukraine wars. That in modern warfare, you have to look at this. If you have $1 million as a country, how can you use these $1 million the most effective? It's about a lot of cost effectiveness now, right? You shouldn't think about more. Oh, let's buy a $1 trillion fighter jet. It's not working like that anymore. You got to be cost effective.
Need to carry sufficient
and that's why drones are such a big asset.
Systems and fuel stores to cover that distance. They need advanced onboard guidance capabilities to reach far-flung
It's like the IC in Hoi 4, yeah.
precision. And they need to carry their own low observable design characteristics, stealth coatings, and sometimes even countermeasures, all just to be destroyed upon impact with the target. An F-35 flying into contested airspace could theoretically take out similar targets with a $200,000 small diameter bomb. 3 times
$200,000 for a bomb, bro.
Years, with a lower cost of operations and much less strain.
How can a bomb be $200,000? I'm sorry, I'm a fucking retard. So you buy some alloy, some kind of fucking, I don't fucking know. So that's the bomb. So first of all, we have like the shell. A bunch of metals, $10. Okay, you fucking find it behind Walmart. Then you put TNT in the middle. TNT can't be that fucking crazy. Let's say $20,000 of TNT. Boom. $25,000. I'm bombing a fucking city complex.
On America's industrial
What the fuck, 200,000?
Now this is, of course, not
the guidance system.
Long-range munitions
just aim it, man. Just be like,
aren't vital for the future of American warfighting endeavors, but rather that an economically viable warfighting strategy can't place too much reliance on.
But also, yeah, we saw a video a long time ago. We saw a video on stream about corruption and bloatingness, where we saw a video on that, where certain screws were $30 a piece. It was like a trick from these companies to make more money and shit.
High-end.
It was a long time ago. We saw a video on that. That there's a lot of things going on there.
Depleting those stockpiles against
people making money.
Adversaries in low-intensity conflicts, or worse, risk losing a war, a financial attrition against an adversary like China. A balanced mix of munitions and delivery methods allows for a greater array of options.
All these videos make me want to live in New Zealand and just not care.
A more cost-effective approach to weapons delivery when appropriate, and a more distributed production load on American manufacturing. However, despite my reservations about the Air Force's reliance on long-range missiles, I can't dispute the validity of their next point, which is that the Air Force is going to have to transition away from maintaining large numbers of tactical jets and small numbers of long-range aircraft to the inverse, maintaining a smaller number of short-range jets and much larger numbers of long-range platforms. Now, according to public records, in 2024, the U.S. Air Force, including the Air Force Reserves, maintained a total long-range bomber fleet of 141 aircraft, including 45 B-1B Lancers and 20 B-2 Spirits already slated for retirement in the 2030s, and 50
Oh, they're already getting retired, man.
58 B-52s, each providing unrefueled combat ranges of between 3,000 and maybe 7,000 miles. Now, these bombers account for about 2.6% of the branch's total number of aircraft, and with 100 B-21 Raiders currently on order to replace retiring
they're
Lancers
replaying
and
them with the new
Spirits,
version.
this number will rise to 158, or about 3%. Now, conversely, in 2024, the Air Force also maintained a fleet of 2,093 fighters of various types, including the National Guard and Reserves.
Damn, that's
These
a lot, man.
aircraft represent the backbone of the Air Force's weapon delivery capabilities.
Now you know why these are public stats, because it makes you scared. As Russia, if you're like, oh, okay, they have 2K?
And offer combat ranges from as little as 340 miles in the case of the F-16C with a full combat load, to as much as around 790 miles in the F-15EX. In a stark contrast to the long-range bomber fleet, these aircraft account for just shy of 40% of the Air Force's aircraft inventory. Acknowledging the reality of long-range missile strikes holding forward air bases at risk, and 1,000-mile interceptors.
I like this guy. It's a great video. But he looks like he's in pain when he's talking. He's like, hi, guys, to them. And he's like, hey, guys, how are you doing, guys? We're going to talk about this.
Tanker operations
he's so tense, bro.
Too dangerous anywhere near Chinese shores. There's simply
this makes me want to play Broken Arrow, man.
Fact that America's fighters don't offer enough range to continue to serve as the
when is Broken Arrow coming out, man?
In the future environment that
I want to play Broken Arrow, man.
According to the report, this issue
can be addressed by
retiring
playing hardcore
aircraft that aren't viable for future fights. Platforms like the A-10 Thunderbolt II.
19th of June? Fuck yeah, man.
Of long-range platforms like the B-21 or a follow-on design beyond the 100 currently on order, and in the near term, relying more on standoff weapon releases from transport or cargo aircraft, which one could argue is a direct reference to Lockheed Martin's Rapid Dragon concept in all but name. The report also highlights the importance of continuing to advance technologies meant to allow for greater survivability in these long-range platforms, or even fielding entirely new ones as the threat environment changes. This focus on extremely long-range operations could possibly even explain some of the backroom hesitance to move forward with the Air Force's next-generation air dominance.
That makes so much sense. Like the circle of we began the stream with looking at the 6th generation planned by the Navy to make the 6th generation fighter, and it makes sense to maybe not go into that, right? With everything you just explained, the circle of the stream is closing now.
High-ranking official who I won't name out of respect for them recently told me that once you extend the range requirements for a fighter like NGAD to a certain point, the requisite size of the aircraft due to fuel storage alone starts skirting into bomber territory. And with a new multi-role bomber already moving into production that realistically is capable of serving as the same command node for forthcoming AI-enabled drone fighters, the price point of that big bomber-sized fighter starts to look less and less appealing. To put it simply, on a long enough timeline, the Air Force seems to believe all combat aircraft will become bombers of a sort. Now, after spending all this time talking about just how ill-prepared the Air Force believes it is for the fights of 2050, it is important to remember two things. The first is that accurately predicting the future of warfare is all but impossible. And the best we can do with our big monkey brains is to look at current trends and extrapolate from there. The second is that these reports are, to some extent, pessimistic for a purpose. The goal of these reports, like war games with the rules stacked to the adversary's advantage, is to prompt the change necessary to ensure America enters into conflict with a power overmatch that all but guarantees victory, and adversary actions simply determining the ultimate cost of that win. So, while the structure, the makeup, and even the doctrine of American air warfare may need to change in the coming years, the one thing the Air Force sees as staying the same, even in the face of all of these changes, is America's ability to fight and win in the sky. And as for whether or not they're ultimately right, I guess only time will tell. And with that ends yet another...
Great video, man. That was the perfect video for the future of air warfare. And with that, it's 10 p.m. Little Tommy wants to go sleepy sleep. Big stream tomorrow. But if we conclude it, we learned here, right? Long range target hitting seems to be the future. The fighter jets themselves don't have the range and are not valuable enough to intercept these big missiles. We saw how unmanned and autonomous systems are going to be important. Drones, obviously the big future of warfare since they're so affordable. We talked about this really cool wingman system, how you have manned fighter jets like the F-35 that will interact with a small drone fleet around it, scanning ahead, defending. That seems to be a great thing. Precision weapons, hypersonic weapons, anti-drone measures, AI-driven decision-making, and last but not least, as I'm totally not reading from ChatGPT here, that air superiority also equals info superiority of satellite sensors, maybe even the hacking, stuff like that. And that seems to be the future of air warfare. Gentlemen, that was my 2-hour future of air warfare deep dive. Baylor's 100 gifted sub deep dives.
She slipped through my fingers like sand. Heard that she had a man. Now I'm just sitting here sad. Oh well, ship sail. She slipped through my fingers like sand.